Welcome back to the Health Formula Show. And before we dive in, just a quick recap of last week's episode, which so many of you loved. It was all about those mysterious wake-ups at 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. So we really decoded what your body is trying to tell you, blending traditional Chinese medicine with functional medicine. And we also give you tools to start finally sleeping through the night. So if you missed that, I highly recommend checking it out after this one. Now, today's topic is one I know so many of you are going to resonate with because it's something that I see very often in our practice. You've been told you're low in iron, you started taking supplements, you eat more spinach, and nothing changes. Your iron levels are still low. Or maybe you haven't even been told that you're low in iron, but you've got the classic symptoms of fatigue, brain fog, cold hands and cold feet. You have some low mood, maybe some dizziness, you have hair loss or hair thinning, even thyroid imbalances, and no one has joined the dots for you. So let's break this down. What is iron deficiency anemia in the first place? So it's when you don't have enough iron to produce sufficient hemoglobin. And that's the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen throughout your body. But here's the thing. Low iron is just a symptom. We need to find the root cause. So today, I am going to walk you through the 4 biggest root causes of iron deficiency and what to do about it. Root cause number 1. Malabsorption. This is a huge one. It doesn't matter how much iron you eat or how many supplements you take if your gut can't absorb it. So think of things like low stomach acid, maybe some gut inflammation, maybe you have celiac disease or Crohn's, parasites, or even something like SIBO. SIBO is a common one. It stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and it can actually prevent iron absorption because those bacteria feed on your nutrients before they get the chance. So this is why I always say we have to start with the gut. Root cause number 2. Blood loss, especially if you have heavy periods. I cannot tell you the number of women that I have worked with who had anemia purely because of heavy monthly bleeding. But again, the bleeding is not just random. It's often due to estrogen dominance, which is something that I have covered in previous episodes. We don't want to suppress ovulation with synthetic hormones, taking the pill or whatever it may be. We want to fix the hormonal imbalance at the root, so it will stop the heavy periods and therefore the chronic low anemia. Root cause number 3, low dietary iron intake. Now, this is especially common in vegans and vegetarians. That doesn't mean that you can't thrive on a plant-based diet. I am 90% plant-based. But it does mean that you need to be very cautious and deliberate. So iron comes in 2 forms. Heme iron, which is found in animal foods, and then you have non-heme iron, which is found in plants, like for example, the one that you find in spinach. Heme iron is way better absorbed. So if you are plant-based, you need to boost your absorption with vitamin C. So you need to be very cautious of things that can block it as well, like calcium or tea, coffee, and be very mindful of how much iron you're actually getting in a day. And I'm going to walk you through that in just a moment. Root cause number 4, higher demand. This could be things like pregnancy, for example, breastfeeding, or adolescence, or times of growth and repair. When your body is using up more iron, it can deplete your stores very quickly. And if you're not matching that with food, levels will stay low. So how do you know if this applies to you? Well, we can run through some of the lesser known symptoms of iron deficiency. So we know about fatigue and weakness, but also look out for other things like lightheadedness, pale skin, fast heartbeat, poor memory, low motivation, maybe some brittle nails, unusual cravings, shortness of breath, cold hands and feet, maybe an inflamed or sore tongue. It can also be a hidden reason behind thyroid imbalances, by the way, and poor mood. And something that is very important that I really want everyone to take away from this episode is that you should be running your blood work at least once a year, even if you feel fine, and not just hemoglobin. Ask for a full iron panel. So that means ferritin, that means serum iron, total iron binding capacity, truly a full panel. And you also want vitamin B12 and folate, which often go hand in hand. And make sure that you know your results, because ferritin tells us about stored iron, serum iron shows what's circulating, saturation tells us, for example, how much is being used. And if you've never looked at this, and I say this with a lot of love, please don't wait. So let's talk a little bit about supplements as well, because yes, they can help, but there is a lot of confusion as well. So most conventional iron supplements, they contain ferrous sulfate or ferrous gluconate. These can be very, very harsh on your stomach. They can cause constipation and they can actually oxidize in the body, meaning they can create free radical damage. And this is why I always prefer plant-based iron supplements, ones that are very gentle and paired with vitamin C. You always need to take iron with vitamin C to really help with absorption, but never take it with calcium or coffee or tea because those actually block it. And if you are using a multivitamin, make sure it's not crammed with like synthetic iron unless it's carefully formulated. Now I really want to talk about food because ideally we want to get most of our iron from whole foods. So a practical tip that you can start using straight away is that before you sit down to eat, ask yourself, where is the iron in this meal? Because women typically need about 18 milligrams a day. Men need around 8, so huge difference. And children, depending on their age, usually need anywhere between 7 and 10. But pregnant women need about like 27 milligrams. So really aim for at least 6 to 8 milligrams per meal. And yes, you can absolutely hit that from plants if you know what you're doing. Personally, I've had to be really proactive with this as well. Like after shifting to a mostly plant-based diet, I realized that I was not being deliberate with my iron intake and it caught up with me. So now every meal is built with that in mind. So like lentils, pumpkin seeds, tahini, leafy greens, quinoa, paired with things like some lemon, maybe red pepper for that vitamin C for absorption. And inside the synergized practice, our first step really is to always do a functional medicine detox because we really want to clean up the liver. We want to clear up the gut because we want to improve absorption, right, of those iron-rich foods. So if you are struggling with low iron and you've never cleared your gut or your liver, then that is something that you should absolutely consider. And lastly, if you do want a beautifully designed handout that gives you a full-on breakdown of iron-rich foods, smart combinations, what to avoid, supplement tips, and my personal food checklist, just leave a comment on YouTube, boost my iron, and we will send that straight to you. I hope that today's episode has helped you understand, even if it was just a little bit, the bigger picture behind iron deficiency. It's not just about iron, it's about why. So get curious, run your labs, support your gut, and be very intentional with every single bite. And again, I am here to guide you every step of the way. So if you have any questions, just reach out to us. Sending you all so much love. And before you go, take a moment to acknowledge yourself for wanting to become the healthiest version of yourself. Before you head off, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss a weekly episode. We cover everything from functional medicine to gut health, to hormones, to weight loss, to skin health, to natural beauty, you name it. All of the topics that truly matter. And if there's something that you would love me to cover, just drop it in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear from you. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.